Hi, everybody. My name is Coffee Brown, and this channel is Coffee Spills the Tea. So we are going to talk today about shortages that are being reported that are coming up as a result of the tariffs that are being issued or that were administered by our administration and the effect that it's going to be having on us and things you need to do in order to prepare for what may end up being kind of up and down kind of uh, uncertainty right now about when it comes to our supply chain. So again, my name is Coffee Brown. This channel is Coffee Spills the Tea. Before I go any farther, please like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also, hit the notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a video. It will also help my the analytics as YouTube will continue to help me to spread this channel to other like-minded Black women like us who are out there looking for a place for support, out here looking for a place where we can find self-care to help ourselves financially, mentally, emotionally, um, everything. That's what this channel's about. And I'm just kind of throwing out truth bombs and just spilling the tea about things that I'm seeing. So let's get into this video. So if you've seen past videos, I have continued to kind of warn about things that are coming up, things that may be happening. And I'm like, you need to prepare, you need to prepare, you need to prepare. And I hope that you've been doing these things because we saw that a bunch of these billionaire um, companies and multimillionaire CEOs went to the White House and they were talking about how the shelves are going to get empty and how you need to stop this tariff. You need to stop tariffing China, blah, blah, blah. And so, um, like it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because this man is never going to capitulate to China, and China has absolutely no reason, none, less than zero reason to even come to the table. Like, what's the point? They'll just start trading with other countries more. And that's exactly what's happening. So, they don't need us. They can go to many, many other countries and set up negotiation deals and just trade with them and just kind of leave us in the lurch. And in the meantime, we don't have the infrastructure set up for our country so that we can start to manufacture these things that previously we got from China and got them quite cheap. Even when they build the infrastructure, my warning to you is that it will still cost quite a bit of money for us to purchase things that we previously got in China. Things are just cheaper in China. Cost of living is cheaper in China. Workers are cheaper in China. And even if you account for all that and for the shipping and all that, that's still cheaper than paying for US labor. Yeah, so it's going to be, we don't know how things are going to end up, but it's just going to be a long 4 years. It's only been like 3.5 months. Okay, so where to start? It's as I had mentioned, I hope that you have been stocking up on things. Like I didn't say this is like the pandemic, and I keep saying it's not going to be like the pandemic, but what you want to do is just get your normal supply of things and then get like buffer yourselves for I would say 2 or 3 extra weeks so that if something does happen, and it will, then you don't have to worry about not having supplies. Okay. Um, so what did I do? I went to the ports I went to the different websites for different ports, and I want to take a look and see what's going on with those ports. This is what's going on with the ports. The ports are where, like Port of LA, Port of Seattle. There's like one in the smaller one in Virginia. There's like a big one in New York, New Jersey. Like there's little ports all over the place. And that's where the shipping containers come in. So the containers that have the huge containers that have like all the things that we import and all the things that we export, all by sea, of course. And they come in and out and in and out, right? And so you want to, if you really want to see what's going on with the ports, instead of looking at like YouTube videos with like mine, right? But instead of like looking at YouTube videos where people are just like, the shelves are going to be empty. If you just go to like each of these ports websites, you can see exactly what's going on with the ports because they report the numbers. And so, of course, with the ports, when the administration said that we're going to be imposing a tariff on this date, then all of these manufacturers and suppliers and everything, they went out and they just like bought a whole bunch of stuff and then they brought them in, and so they have front loaded the ports with a lot of product, right? At the same time, because there's a reciprocal tariff from other countries on us, whatever we did send out is much less. And so there is something going on at the ports, yes. But what I'm seeing at the ports is that there's this huge backlog of empty containers that are sitting at the ports and they are not going out. And so if all the empty containers, because they're all like they're the same containers being used back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. United States, China, China, United States, Brazil, Brazil, United States, Europe, Europe, United States. Okay. So if not very many people or many countries are saying, hey, you know what? We want to deal with the United States. We're just gonna cut you off. You know, if they're just like saying that's it, then there's going to be this huge inventory of empty containers. At some point, we have to get those empty containers out so that we can get them back to these different countries, because at some point we're going to need all of those things that we buy from overseas. And then, you know, like we have to get them loaded and then get them back. So there are still supplies from other countries. And I looked at the map. There's still ships coming in from all over the place, still coming in to the United States. And you can look at the map. There's like a shipping map that shows all these ships that have like all these containers on them, and they are coming in. However, not as many. Okay, that's problem number one. Problem number two, as I stated before, is that we have all of these empty containers. At some point, when these ships that are coming in from all over the place arrive, if the empty containers are not brought, taken away and sent away, then there's going to be this kind of like backlog of like new product coming in and old products, like or the backlog stuff in the warehouses, and these like empty containers just sitting there. So what is going to happen is that there's going to be probably a little bit of a supply chain nightmare while they try to figure out like how to maneuver things around. I have seen as well on the website that there's been an increase in the number of firings or like people being fired as a result of the tariffs as well. These people work in freight, they work in shipping, they work in rail, they work in like aviation, and the number of people that work in those fields are going down. And I think that's also adversely affecting like getting those shipping containers out, getting those supplies to the warehouses, getting, making the room so that new supplies can come in. So I don't know if you're starting to see like there's this kind of, this is my perspective, of course. There's this kind of logistical nightmare I think that's coming up. Um, so on top of that, we as United States American citizens, like United States of America, we are not consuming as much. We just aren't. So when they take those supplies and they bring them to warehouses, then I really think, and I would have to look at the warehouse data, but I would have to think that the warehouse data is going to show that there's going to be this increase in inventory of like supplies sitting on shelves and not getting out. So now I think there could be something, and I'm going to have to kind of look it up and see like what's going on at the warehouses. Are things being shipped out to Americans? Our perception is that things are getting more expensive, and they are. And so as a result, we aren't buying as much. We aren't consuming as much. The GDP, the gross domestic product, has shrunk. It has shrunk enough so that it's made the news. So I think there's this kind of like going on when it comes to shipping and all that other stuff. So will it affect us as far as like if you go to the grocery store and you see empty shelves? It could, right? Like it could if they fire a lot of the people that are supposed to be moving these products from the ports, and this includes truck drivers, right? Because truck drivers drive these things from warehouse to warehouse and from ports to warehouses and all that stuff. And there are a number of truck drivers that are reporting that they're not getting as much work, that they're not getting as much inventory to move, et cetera, et cetera. So all of these things are going to be affecting us negatively. And so as a result, we could see situations where we don't have enough like food for the shelves at the grocery stores because there's just not enough people to move things. Like we get a lot of food, even though we have like farmers or whatever that are out here that are growing things and raising animals and whatever, we still get a lot of supplies that come from overseas. And so anything that is coming in could be caught up in this kind of snafu inventory kind of nightmare, which some people are downplaying and saying it's not so bad, like it's been worse, and it has been worse because we saw it in a pandemic. But it's not pandemic crazy. It's just, this is a logistical nightmare and it's a bit inconvenient. So we have to be careful with like understanding exactly what's going on and understanding like how can we like anticipate these things. And that's why I'm saying like you don't have to go out like pandemic time and go out and buy all of these things and be like, okay, I need to make sure that I have enough of X, Y, and Z because it could be months. It won't be months and months and months. Or we're just not in the same, we're just not in the same situation. The US does import a lot more than it exports to Asia. And so there's going to be containers that are going to be sent back empty to Asia because of the fact that we are importing so much. So if those empty containers are just sitting there and they're not going back to Asia, then it's taking up space. It's making it hard for the ships that are going to come in that have all of this inventory they need to offload. And at some point, when we can get those shipping containers out of here, there's going to be this lag time because those containers have to go out. They have to go to Asia, then they have to be filled with things and then sent back. So there's going to be a gap of time when I think there's going to be like a supply issue. So you want to be like maybe 2 or 3 weeks out. Um, there are also other things that concern me, such as, all this whole stupid talk about we're going to make Canada our 51st state. It's not going to happen. Just give up. Okay? Administration, stop it. Stop. So what's happening is that Canada, this is just a for instance, they provide a lot of the electricity for a lot of the northeast coast. Okay. So if and I'm sure that they probably do for like other states along the Canadian like US border. But in particular, I'm thinking about the northeast. So if something happens and Canada says, hey, you know what? Let's just no more electricity. I mean, I just don't think so because in our worst situation, I just don't think Canadians can be that cruel. I think that this administration, if the situation was reversed, yeah, they would be that cruel. But I do not think that Canadians would ever do that to us, especially because a lot of those northeastern states did not vote for this administration. However, let it be said, though, if Canada is going to make a surgical strike, they may say something like, you know what? Why don't we just provide less electricity to like these northeastern states? Because we still need to make a statement and we still need to put the pressure on the administration. Do I think that the administration cares if New York doesn't get a lot of electricity and they have brownouts and blackouts? No, that's not a state that the administration cares about. So I don't think it's going to affect them as much. What is really going to affect them is like, or affect this administration is if Canada says, and they have been doing, we're not going to take any of that, like we're not going to take any of the bourbon from the United States. We're not going to take your wines. We're not going to take your spirits. We're not going to take like your alcohol. And they just clear out US shelves or US like alcohol from the shelves. A lot of the alcohol is made in southern states, so they'll struggle. Kentucky, um, Louisiana. I mean, like those states that make things that they ship out with pride and say, yeah, everybody wants our stuff. Like that could be a problem. But that's really not an issue that's going to be affecting your immediate needs. So um you need to be like prepared. And as I said, and I have been saying, is just get enough supplies for you to be able to make it for, I would say, 3 weeks beyond what you normally get. And I would, like if you're in a state where you're maybe in the Northeast, you might want to think about getting water, like extra water, a few cases or a few of those like 5 gallon um water jugs. I get a few because if something happens, electricity goes out or something happens with your grid goes down, you need to be able to have water, drinking water, water to cook with, water to at least do a little bit of hygiene. And so I would get those. Like me, I have like 6 of those 5 gallon water bottles, and I'm going to fill them up probably in the next few days, because last summer we just had some funky issues in my area where it was just pure bad luck. Our water supply was contaminated, and they were like, no water. We just don't have water for like, it was like up to a week. And it was just like, okay, you can bathe with it, but they were like, you just can't like use it to brush your teeth and whatever. And I was just like, but I can bathe with it. I mean, I get it because I've been to like countries where they don't have like a great water supply uh system that sanitizes water and whatnot. But I felt a little uncomfortable. So I am gonna go ahead and fill up. I would suggest you go and do the same for that. So batteries, just have extra batteries. Like what is it? The double A's, the triple A's, maybe some 9 volts. It wouldn't hurt if you have one of those like UPSs, the uninterrupted power supplies. Like I have one that's good for like 45 minutes, depending on how much I have plugged in. And so I have it's underneath my desk. I have the most essential things like my laptop, like internet, so that I can shut things down if something happens. And I want to shut it down as quick as I can, because if I need that battery, because that's what it is. A UPS battery is a battery, uninterrupted power supply. And I'll actually put a link in to the description where you can get one. They're not cheap, but it's like a huge chunky battery, and you plug it into the wall. And then if something happens and the electricity goes out, if you have things plugged in, it will last for an extra few minutes. Okay. And so I would, if you're really feeling extreme, I would go as far as to get one of those. Maybe get a small container of extra gas if you have like a place to supply it. Like, one of um those red like gas containers. I'm gonna go and I have 2 of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those 2 filled up with gas and just put them off to the side, just in the event that I need them for something. Um, and as always, I just continue to advocate that you get airtight containers, that you get like Ziploc plastic baggies, and that you continue to buy your food and then use those airtight containers and Ziploc baggies to store them in your freezer. And just keep in mind that if something does happen and your electricity does go out for some reason, no matter what the reason, like in it's hot. Our grid system here is just overloaded sometimes, especially when it's really, really hot, and we will have more heat waves. Um, and it just goes down. If you don't continue to open and close your refrigerator and your refrigerator is efficient, I think you can go like up to 3 to 4 days where your refrigerator will keep things cool. And so having those extra things that in the freezer in the event that you have like an outage would be nice. And then if for some reason you have an outage and the outage goes 2 or 3 days, if you have an outdoor grill, that's nice. You can grill quite a bit of the things that you would normally have to cook. Or I have like a water kettle that you plug in, and that will work. Or if you have a gas oven, that also will work if there's no electricity. If you're working with a gas stove, gas oven, you turn it on and there's like fire that comes up and lights everything up. That will also be helpful for you as well. But you have to make sure that you've got like one of those lighters, like a big lighter, so that you can turn it on. But you want to have these things and just be ready for that inevitable shift in the supply chain. Okay, so I'm going to be making another video, but I just wanted to kind of like give an update, or just kind of look at things from like a little bit less of a and a little bit more like what's really going on. You can go to any of the port websites and you can take a look and see. They don't hide it. It's not being controlled by the administration. It simply has like, this is what's going on in our port. This is what's going on with containers, with moving things by rail, by ship, by air, by transport, like I guess it would be trucks, and it tells you all of this stuff. So you could take a look at it. Now, I had to like really like look at it, and then I had to go to Chat GPT, and then I had to go to my favorite YouTube port um videos, because there are some professional maritime port YouTube videos that are quite boring, but like they'll kind of give you the gist and then you can kind of like figure things out. So it's not as bad as what people are saying, like the shelves are going to be bare in 3 weeks and go out and panic buy. Please don't go out and panic buy, because I don't think it's that bad. I do think prices are going to go up. I do think that we are having issues with the job market. And I do think that we're going to have some struggles ahead. But I don't think that it's as bad yet as what they're saying right now. If the tariffs continue, if we continue to have these big containers that are sitting there empty in the ports, and there's nothing, like China isn't saying, hey, can you send those shipping containers to us because we need to ship things to United States. They're just going to continue to sit there. And then when there are things coming in, they will be that are coming in by ship. It will be a challenge to get them offloaded and have a place to put things that are coming off the ships. And then more empty containers will sit there. They simply don't offload and then take those empty containers back. There has to be some kind of back and forth give and take. Okay. So don't panic. Do buy a few things up front. Have, I would say, I mean, 2, 3, 4 weeks of extra. Don't like pandemic shopping, do pandemic shopping, and stay calm and just get some of those necessities that I talked about. Batteries, flashlights, I would say first aid supplies, gas if you have it, extra water. If you have pets, you probably want to get maybe like an extra supply of dog food, because like what I do is I'm sorry, I love my dogs, but I usually wait till the very last second, then I turn around and I'm like, oh, I gotta buy another one. If there's an issue, because they have very specialized dog food that they eat because they're bougie like that, then I just don't have any way of getting them their dog food. And then it could be a little bit of a struggle while I try to figure out how to feed these mongrels and not have them snacking on me when I go to sleep at night. Okay. And then of course, like I said, get your airtight freezer bags and containers, and then just do as much like storage as you can for your food, so that you can freeze things. And I also advocate getting canned food. I don't care what people say, and you may look down and say, oh, canned food. But here's the thing about canned food. There are canning factories. So there'll be some farms that have their canning factories there, right? And so as soon as things get like harvested, it goes right into the can, sealed for freshness. That's it. They're fresher than if a farm gets those same vegetables and fruits and things and then has to put them someplace, and then they're sitting there for God knows how long, and then eventually getting moved to like some place to get processed and cleaned, and then eventually getting to the warehouse, and eventually getting on the trucks, and eventually getting to the stores, and eventually getting to us. That's not so fresh. So I advocate for canned foods and canned supplies. and canned stuff will last for a good long time. Okay, so I'm gonna end this video because I do have some other videos that I want to make so that we got some things to do this weekend. So again, before I leave, my name is Coffee Brown. My channel is Coffee Spills the Tea. If you could please like my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so every time I upload a video, it goes right to you, that notification gets right to you, and you can upload or download and watch it. And and share this also with your friends. We're all in the same boat. We're all trying to help each other. Um, my this is going to help my logistics. It's going to help me grow my channel. All right. I didn't even say today's date. It is Friday, May 2nd, 2025. And I'm going to wish everybody having a great day, great weekend. Start to get ready. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.